Good morning. My name is Lamar Buggs. I'm the assistant principal. Ms. Land couldn't be here this morning, so I'm representing her. Welcome parents, family, friends, and TPKA Tigers to our final STEM Student of the Month award ceremony for the 2017-18 school year. We are so happy that you could join us today as we celebrate our Tigers who have demonstrated the STEM trait of being reflective. Our theme this school year, has been HERO. This acronym stands for helping everyone reach their goals. We are here today to recognize our Tigers who have shown reflection through their words and deeds. Because we believe that everyone in the school community is a hero, we use this theme in conjunction with our STEM traits. Each trait is represented by a superhero who exemplifies the STEM trait. Main STEM trait of reflective is represented on the student certificates by the superhero Rogue, one of my favorites, by the way. Rogue originated as a villain, but upon reflection, became a superhero. Over time, she reflected and gained control of her powers to use for good instead of evil. Today, we honor our Tigers who have used their reflective skills to gain and share knowledge in the classroom. Through your insightful attitude, you all have been the models of reflection within the school community. Before we go on, I do want to recognize some folks I failed to recognize before, is that we have Mrs. Tuminello here. She organizes, for the most part, our STEM Student of the Month, but she has a lot of people helping her. Over here, we have our guidance counselors. We have Mrs. Bell and Ms. Wonderly. Elementary guidance counselor, Ms. Kay. Elementary, Ms. Knowles. Ms. Jackson. We have a couple of teachers out and about. Ms. Walker, raise your hand. Algebra. Mr. Weaver, he's always here, technology. And he's doing video. Thanks. And also we have our president, PTSA president for next year, Mrs. Fields. And I wore my jacket for you guys today. I was thinking that it was more of a Turner Bartell's colors, okay, like the maroon and red, but maroon and blue, but I'm getting a lot of compliments for patriotic. Memorial, there you go, it's coming up. All right, now I'd like to welcome Ms. Wonderly to the stage to MC the awards.
All right, here we go. So I did hear Ms. Tuminello tell you guys that you have 2 name tags. And this is more for people who haven't been here before. The way that this works is that you have a name tag on the back of your chair, boys and girls, and you have one that is loose that's in your hand that was laying on your chair. What I need you to do is bring that name tag up with you so that I make sure I read the correct information from your teachers, because I know you think Ms. Wonderly reads all of this stuff and that I just think it off the top of my head, but I'm not that good. So your teachers have submitted what they're saying about you. So you're going to hand me your name tag so I know which name to read. Then you come across and you shake Ms. Tuminella's hand and she gives you your certificate. You shake Mr. Buggs' hand and he gives you the exclusive magnet. And then at the end of each grade level, we'll call family and friends up for a picture and we'll give directions to the next grade level. And just so that you know, we do have Mr. Weaver here, our tech specialist. I don't recommend standing on the table, boys and girls, not allowed, but he does it because he's videotaping us so you can see it on YouTube and Twitter, and you can share it with family and friends that are not able to be here or even live out of state. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and start with pre-K. So starting us off, we have Sukriti. Sukriti is very observant and watches her peers at work. She likes to think about what she's going to do before she does it. She will ask questions to make sure she understands the task at hand. She wants to make sure she has it just right. And this is Charlotte. Charlotte is kind and helpful to her classmates. She is always thinking of her friends and modeling ways to be a good friend. Charlotte shares ideas with peers about how to be a problem solver and peacemaker. And this is Maddie. Maddie recently entered our pre-K class here at TBKH. She has made such a nice transition and is a valued member of our school family. As Maddie has become more comfortable in our class, she can see what a reflective student she truly is. She enjoys observing her friends and teachers as she is learning. Once she has had time to reflect on her observations, she enjoys sharing what she knows with her teachers and peers. And these are our pre-K students of the month. Parents, family, and friends, if you want to come closer for a picture at this time. And kindergarten, if you would stand, take your name tag with you and look to Miss Kay and Miss Knowles. They're going to help you get up on stage. And thank you for holding your applause until the end. Okay, we've got Sebastian for kindergarten. Sebastian is the best example of someone who is reflective. He has a quiet spirit, but always willing to share his thinking. He's a careful thinker and a great role model for his friends. We're so glad to have him as part of our class family. Shifa is very introspective and thoughtful. She comes up with insightful answers to questions about why and how. She helps our class to reflect and think in greater depth. Samantha is our STEM student of the month for being reflective because she is always curious to learn how to improve her work. She tries her best to self-correct and problem solve on a daily basis. Mustafa's classmates voted him most reflective because in science design challenges, he's always thinking about how to change the design to make it work better. He is also striving to learn and do better each and every day. Isaac demonstrates how reflective he is when he checks his work thoroughly when he has completed it. He will reread and add to make corrections where needed. He also reflects on how his day is going. He strives to do his best and sets many goals for himself. Bryce often reflects when completing his work. He thinks things through and asks questions to get more information. Kim Nassam is a diligent student. She is thinking about answers before she responds to questions. She will also ask questions to clarify her thinking and encourages her peers to do the same. Olga is a wonderful example of a reflective learner. She is consistently relating new knowledge to prior understanding, especially while reading. We can count on her to have an amazing connection. Her happy attitude and super contagious giggle makes learning so much fun. Abigail always reflects about her work and choices in class. She is always ready to problem solve when things are tricky and to celebrate her achievements. Vaishnavi often relates new learning or text she has read to her own personal experiences. She likes to reflect through drawing, writing, and using checklists. She shares her thinking with others and is able to reflect on her learning, and this has helped her grow so much. And these are our kindergarten students. Kindergarten family and friends, feel free to come closer for a picture at this time. First grade, please stand and look to Miss Kay and Miss Knowles. They're going to help you get up on stage. Please remember to take your name tags. Starting us in first grade, we have Braden. He is very thoughtful and reflective young man. He recounts events truthfully and is trustworthy. He has a positive outlook towards the world around him and always tries his best. Rohan is a reflective student. He loves to read. His summaries are full of predictions and strong interpretations. Rohan is willing to help others and is excited to share his learning on a daily basis. Dhruvi is always thinking and reflecting on our learning in the classroom. He's constantly making great connections between past and current learning by reflecting. Gabriella is a great example of how to be reflective in the classroom. She's always thinking about her learning and finding ways to add to her knowledge. She is quick to reflect and make sure that things make sense. Shagun is always so thoughtful about what she learns in class. She always helps us as a class, reflects on what we learn with her very profound questions. We are so thankful to have her in class. Omar is a thoughtful student in and out of class. He reflects on his assignments, tries his best, and is hardworking. Nandan is always reflecting on his learning. If he made a mistake or if something did not work, he tries to figure out not only what went wrong, but why. Keep up the good work. Sasha reflects on his work and behavior each day. He sets goals for himself to be challenged and improve. He is a hard worker and always wants to be his best. Jaylin is thoughtful and reflective in everything she does. She often shares thoughtful ideas on how to enhance an activity, or she just loves suggesting another way to solve a problem in class. She puts much thought into all of her work, and as a result, her creativity shines. Avery is a hard worker and always excited to learn new things. Avery is great at sharing what she is thinking and reflecting back on what she has learned. We are very proud of you. And these are our first grade students of the month. Amy and friends may come closer for a picture at this time. And second grade, look to Miss Knowles and Miss Kay. They will get you up on stage. Ariana is going to start us off in second grade. He is great at connecting new learning with topics and skills learned previously and makes great connections between subjects of study. He is diligent about reviewing his work and often makes changes to improve his performance. When I think of reflective, I think of Solomon. Solomon has made great improvements this year due to the fact that when he makes a mistake, he always takes the time to reflect on his actions, and then he makes improvements, and that's what makes him so special. Messiah is growing and reflecting on his learning each day. He has evolved as a thinker, as a young gentleman, and as a fine TBKA Tiger this year because of his ability to reflect and set goals both academically and behaviorally. Monica is a sweet and thoughtful student. She is always learning from her classroom experiences and strives to be the best student and friend that she can be. Logan is nominated because not only are you very respectful in class and helpful, but you are always coming up with new discoveries in class. You use your time to reflect on how you can make your artwork better, and when you finish, you are always trying to come up with a fun and creative way to make something cool. John is nominated because he is very respectful in class and helpful, and he is always coming up with new discoveries. He takes risks in his artwork and makes connections to his interests by reflecting on what he can do to enhance his artwork. Leilani, we are impressed with how you think about your work. You are always striving to do your best, and we have seen you take the time to think through what you've been asked to do, and then make sure to complete it to the best of your ability. Malak is always working diligently with all she does. With every assignment, she provides thoughtful responses and always takes her time to thoughtfully check her work and make sure she was successful with it. Annika is awesome at reflecting on previous activities. She's always thinking of new ideas on how to improve activities. She's always polite and respectful during PE. We are proud to nominate Peyton as this month's STEM Student of the Month. She consistently shows that she is reflective by taking her time to complete her assignments to ensure they are quality products. Make sure I got her name right. Gentria is a very reflective student. She always thinks things through and takes her time on all of her classwork assignments. She is very thoughtful and kind. She strives to do her best every day in helping other students around her. She has great reasoning skills and is able to explain and reflect on her learning and thinking. Amir keeps our class reflective. He always looks at what he could have done better or how he could revise his work to improve upon next time. Being reflective is one of his many outstanding qualities that he has. Adrian often talks about activities he does outside of class, and they relate to what we're learning during the lesson. He's always actively engaged during lessons as well. Ty shows his reflective character on a daily basis like the superhero Rogue. He thoughtfully seeks to do what's best for others. In his academics, he takes the time to reflect on the task and subject at hand, be it reading, math, science, or writing, and he does his best to understand no matter how difficult the challenge. As a second grader, Sophia has demonstrated a mature way to reflect on her academics. She thinks about how to improve her writing, a science project, and her Office 365 presentation. She is able to reflect with specific examples and determine what went well and could use some tweaking. Joshua is being recognized from our December trait of problem solving. He shows that he is a problem solver by working hard to learn new things and helping other classmates when they need assistance. He is not afraid to ask questions to help him solve problems he encounters. And these are our second grade students of mine. In third grade, if you would stand and look to Ms. Kay and Ms. Knowles, they'll help you get up on stage. Second grade family and friends, you can come closer at this time for a picture. Third grade starts with Jaden. Jaden is our STEM Student of the Month for the trait reflective because she takes advice and feedback like a champ. She always tries her best and takes her time correcting her mistakes. She is always open to feedback and does a great job using the tools that her teachers give her to be successful. Alina is always reflective on her classwork and current projects in all subjects. She comes to her teachers daily to create plans to make her more successful. Her classmates look to her to help explain new ideas, and as she takes on a reflective leadership role in groups. Alina, we are so proud of you. Kylie is a very reflective student who always goes the extra mile to deliberate on how she can make her work better. She always wants to strive to do her best and encourages others to do so as well. Sanvi is our STEM Student of the Month because she not only learns the information, she takes the time to think about it and absorb it. She frequently makes connections and listens intently to her classmates. Her mind is always working to make sense of what she's learned. Gio is a great example of a reflective student. He thinks back over problems, events, work, and anything else that takes place in the classroom. After thinking back, he comes up with questions and ideas to change and improve himself. His favorite word is why. Along with this, he's extremely polite and respectful to both peers and adults. Nicholas cares very deeply about doing his best in representing himself, his family, and his school well. He is thoughtful and thinks through every situation he is put in so that he can show his true potential. Sean deserves our STEM Student of the Month award for being reflective. He's always willing to share his knowledge in our various sport and fitness units. He is self-guided when contemplating different strategies to challenge himself and others throughout physical education. Sophia is a hardworking student who is always ready to help others and always questioning to make herself better. As the school year has progressed, Hayden has become more engaged in his learning. He has improved his grades by reflecting on the things he's learned and has applied those skills to help him be a better student. And these are our third grade students of the month. Fourth grade, please stand with your name tags. Look to Ms. Kay and Ms. Knowles. And third grade, parents, family, and friends, feel free to come closer for a picture. Starting us in fourth grade is Amara. She is always thinking of a way she can improve after a lesson. She is very good about finding the best way to complete the task for next time. Juanita has really blossomed and grown this year. She has demonstrated leadership qualities and is always reflective about her studies and her behavior. We are very proud of you. Mackenzie has shown that she is a reflective student throughout the year. Earlier in the year, after weeks of working on her STEM fair project, she decided to change it altogether, even though it meant more work, time, and effort. And most recently, she thought about her performance in math on her last report card and came up with a plan to improve it for next quarter. Bella takes every opportunity to address math problems thoroughly. She works to discover the invaluable moments of creative problem solving and reasoning skills by diligently devising solutions to the proposed question. She shares exceptional solutions and explains her learning with the intent of encouraging other students to showcase their growth. Priya asks questions to make sure she understands the task at hand. Just the other day, she announced that she learned from her mistake in researching, so she was going to try a new method that was more effective. Aseel consistently goes back to check her work. She looks back at assignments to ask if she could add anything to improve her understanding. Way to go. Sky has shown unbelievable growth and strength this year. Her ability to be reflective has made a positive impact on herself and her peers. She is kind, empathic, and leads with her heart. Kyra is our STEM Student of the Month because she is always looking to figure out how her mistakes can be fixed and how she can learn from them. She's always striving to make everything she does her very best effort and always puts her best foot forward in everything she does. When I think of character traits that take people far in life, I specifically think of someone possessing the gift to reflect accurately of themselves. Redima possesses that specific skill. Throughout the years, she has continued to grow academically. She is a person who looks honestly at her work and always finds a way to go further and make it that much better. Christina is a reflective learner both inside and outside of our 4th grade classroom. She uses critical thinking skills to analyze and reflect on her learning experiences and performance. Arian is nominated by 2 teachers. He deserves our STEM Student of the Month award for being reflective. He is always willing to share his knowledge in our various sport and fitness units as well as in art class. He is self-guided when contemplating different strategies to challenge himself and others throughout everything he does. Eric is often reflective within the social aspects of school as well as academic areas. This student is a great contributor within class and listens to those around him with a genuine interest and caring nature. He expects the best from himself and his peers and is consistently seeking ways to challenge himself. And these are our 4th grade students of the month. 5th grade, go ahead and stand. Look to Miss Kay and Miss Knowles, and 4th grade parents, family, and friends. You may come closer for a picture. Fifth grade starts with Christina. Throughout the year, I use rubrics to grade projects and assignments, and there's always a reflective question or two. Christina joined my classroom around January, and her first reflective answers were spot on. She truly reflects about what she's learned and how she's learned it. She knows what she can do next time to make something better. Jasmine tries very hard to do well the first time she does something, but when she struggles or faces a challenge, she's willing to look back at what she has done to correct it. We think Emma should be STEM Student of the Month because she has been reflective and behaved well over this year, not just in her studies, but also in her behavior and her actions. We think she deserves this award because of her perseverance. Isabella is always the person I go to when I need help. She is thoughtful and never lets me down. Whenever I am not feeling great, I go to Isabella, and she always knows what to say when I need cheering up. She is a great friend who thinks of others and is always smart in her thinking. Charlie is a very thoughtful person, and this shows in class every day. He thinks through things carefully, and when asked to reflect on things, he shows careful thought and consideration to all. He is able to reflect on situations and make the improvements that are needed to be successful. Victoria is very thoughtful. She is detail-oriented and deliberate in her actions. She is well respected by her teachers and her peers. Rajvi is very thoughtful in her work. She pays attention to detail and always takes the time to do her very best. She will succeed in anything she puts her mind to. Leandro has grown this year to become a more reflective student. He thinks back on the assignments he completes to make sure that he has shown his best effort and identifies what he can improve. He also reflects on his actions and what he did right or could have done differently for a better outcome. Nor is reflective throughout every aspect of her day. She reflects on her positives and her goals for the future. She does this in every subject as well as when collaborating with others. Yvonne is always thinking deeply about academics and friendship. She's one to contemplate her actions and actions of others and is always reflective in her conversations and decisions. And these are our 5th grade students of the month. 5th grade, parents, family, and friends, you can come closer for a picture. And 6th grade, if you would stand, take your name tags. And Miss Knowles will help you get up on stage. She's over here. All right, on to our middle school. Starting us off in 6th grade, we have Gianna. She is nominated by 2 teachers for reflection. It is a part of her natural part of learning. She is extremely thoughtful when completing assignments and thinks things through to make sure she gives the quality of work that the teacher likes to see. Her ability to reflect on her work and make adjustments next time to show improvement is what helps her to be so successful. Jairee is a conscientious student who reflects upon his behavior and learning and strives to improve both. He thinks things through and carefully considers all options so he can make the best choice for himself. Sophie is a very introspective person. She thinks about how she solved a problem once the answer is given. If she gets the wrong answer, she goes back and checks her work. She is always aware of what's going on in the classroom and is willing to analyze her thoughts and behavior. We are nominating Ziambra for our Reflective Student of the Month because she has shown great strength and character throughout the year. She often connects with information or lessons from the past and shares her insights with us. She is super organized, friendly, and kind. Isabella is nominated for the great job that she does in physical education. She does a great job as a thinker and a reflector. Miguel is a very conscientious student. He completes his assignments, assists others, and reflects on his lessons. Our class chose AJ for the Student of the Month because he is a very thoughtful student. After completing a task, he reflects on the task before submitting it to make sure he is satisfied with his end result. Jahi is a smart kid. He works hard in class. His serious thought or consideration help him work through any problem. Keep on reflecting. Esme is a silent warrior. She is always willing to help, reflecting on situations and problem solving to be proactive. She's always thinking to assist her peers and helps guide them in making good decisions. Ryan has made huge strides in developing the character trait of being reflective of her own behaviors and choices this school year. She has become more focused on how she reacts towards others and seems to truly be committed to making this change for herself. And these are our 6th grade students of the month. Okay, 7th grade, if you would stand and take your name tag, move towards Miss Knowles. And 6th grade parents, family, and friends, you can come closer for a picture at this time. Seventh grade starts with Isabella. As an avid student, Isabella is reflective. She is a great example of an avid student. She's positive, respectful, cooperative, organized, and supportive. Brianna takes great consideration when completing her assignments. If she does not feel that she has done her absolute best, she starts over. Daniel has been able to make connections from his time spent with me last year and this year, really reflecting on his time spent with me and all of his learning and making all of those wonderful connections. Jamila is an incredible and quiet young lady. She is able to focus on tasks at hand while looking at the big picture. She is observant, taking in everything around her, and then uses that information to reflect on the knowledge that she already has. Javine is a ball of energy. However, when he takes a moment, he has an aptitude for looking at the situation around him and taking it in. He is able to look back to the past and relate it to the future as it applies to him. This entire school year, Ariana has been reflective about what she learns in her class. She continues to be a very hard worker and is always respectful to her teacher and peers. It has been my pleasure to have Ariana in my classroom. As the year ends, Tamaria has demonstrated a keen ability to understand how her actions are felt in the future. She has matured to comprehend the need to identify and change her actions, behavior, and beliefs to better herself. Anthony has been an outstanding student of mine since last year. He takes the time to reflect on his performance and the performance of the band to improve their playing so that the next concert is even better. Andrea is being recognized from last month for inquisitive. Every week, Andrea challenges her teacher with unique questions and insights about music. Her personal interest in music has fostered her inquisitiveness about the subject. And these are 7th grade students. Grade, if you would stand and look to Ms. Noel, she'll help you get up on stage. And 7th grade parents, family, and friends, I know you're out there. You can come closer for a picture at this time. Starting off our 8th grade, we have Jarrett. In retrospect, Jarrett is always reflecting on the past to help mold the future. He learns from his mistakes and adjusts on the fly. He is a very pensive young man. Ben is a really neat kid, an intellectual with a huge heart, a diamond in the rough. It's been a joy having him in class, and we expect amazing things from this young man with a bright future. Maria is a student that wants to understand what she is learning. She often thinks on a topic and weighs in the options before commenting. She's a thoughtful individual who considers all the sides and consequences. Evan is the definition of reflective. She takes advantage of every opportunity we have in class to reflect on how the literature we're reading connects with the real world by sharing extremely detailed written and verbal reflections with her peers. Mark is receiving this award today because he realizes the importance of doing what is right. Mark will step aside and not follow his friends to finish his classwork in order to succeed in class. He has a great respect for his peers and his teachers. Deja is one of the most reflective students I have taught. She continues to try no matter what the challenge may be. Keep on being awesome. Kayla is an amazing student who is always willing to reflect on her solution to a problem. Naomi is a dedicated student, always taking her time and giving her best effort. She demonstrates maturity and creativity in all of her accomplishments. Kayla has been one of the students that is sometimes overlooked, not because she struggles, but because she does everything right and always with a smile. She always comes to class prepared and eager to learn. She always gives her full attention to all of her assignments and strives to improve her math skills daily. And Alex is being recognized from last month as well. Being inquisitive, Alex always has a desire to understand everything he can about everything and is never afraid to ask questions to learn more. And these are 8th grade students. And 8th grade parents, you may come closer for a picture at this time. And I'm going to call Mr. Bugs back to the podium. We have just a few more awards to give out.
Okay, at this time, I'd like to recognize certain teachers of mine. And again, this is reflective. For our primary school, we're going to recognize Ms. Marino. Since the beginning of TPKA, Ms. Marino has used reflection as a tool to support and guide all students, but especially those within the English language learning program. She looks for ways to improve the educational and social experience for her students and always has the best interest in mind. And looking for ways to improve the program for the students. Ms. Marino lets her reflective ability shine. Ms. Marino, we thank you for all that you do for TPKA. For intermediate, Mrs. Vandergreek. Ms. Vandergreek epitomizes the Monster trait. With every new initiative, task, or learning, Ms. Vandergreek reflects on this pros and cons and inquires for clarification of the details. She is always thinking about how to best help her students in learning and in life. Thank you, Ms. Vandergreek, for being a model for this lesson. Middle school. Yes, Ms. McGlone is deserved. Yes, she is. Ms. McGlone uses reflection as a means to motivate, support, and guide students and staff. As a team leader, she consistently reflects, asking questions to gain insight and answers for her team. She looks out for the best of interests of her students and upon reflection makes suggestions for improvements for the learning experiences of students. Ms. McGlone, your reflective nature makes you a great leader. Thank you. All right, this is for our leadership team. Our leadership team is Ms. Wonderland. Ms. Wonderland is an important part of our team at TPKA because she is always looking for ways to improve our school. She is supportive of all stakeholders and reflects on how we can use various strategies to continuously improve student achievement and behavior. Thank you, Ms. Wonderland, for your wonderful reflections and contributions. And our last one is Debbie Wood. She is not here. Oh, she's not here. Right, she's not here. So, but Ms. Debbie Woods is our next one. Okay.
All right, so I know there's friends and family of our wonderful teachers out there. If anybody wants to come up and take a picture, you're welcome to.